you came in with a title. And
Yeah,
we
many titles.
Many titles, but yeah, time after time. And I thought, how can we sing that? And I felt like we're into this kind of ska beat thing. Time after time. Time after time. If you're lost, you can look and you will find me. Time after time.
In the early 80s, Cyndi Lauper was on her own. Her band Blue Angel had just split up, and she was venturing out to make a solo debut. By 1983, she was signed to a major label and began working on what would become her career-making debut album, She's So Unusual. Many of the songs she was asked to sing were originally penned by other writers, like the Robert Hazard original Girls Just Wanna Have Fun. But she had a clear vision and really needed to put her own spin on the project. She enlisted members of Philly band The Hooters to back her up, and ended up finding a songwriting chemistry with Rob Hyman. Together, they would chart history for Lauper with the single Time After Time. I'm Brittany Spanos, senior writer for Rolling Stone. I sat down with Cyndi Lauper and Rob Hyman to discuss the making of their timeless classic.
To all the songs, basically, I thought that we should have our sound. It wasn't just our voice, it was our sound, like a band, it was rock. But I wanted it to be modern. This was the time. And you only get one shot at a first impression, right? Mm-hmm. So I wanted it to be a certain way. Yeah. And I kept fighting to write a song for this record with one of these guys.
We spent months in our little studio in Manayunk, Pennsylvania, outside Philly. Well, it's in Philly, actually.
A lot of cheese sticks that really helped.
The long story short was we get in the studio, did all these songs, and then I think Rick said, the record sounds great. You guys are doing a great job. But he said we could use one more song. And I just remember thinking like, whoa, okay. So one more song is like the door is closing, the budget's closing, time is short, no pun intended. And anyway, Cyndi and I sat at a piano one night after the session and everybody went out to dinner and we didn't. And we said, let's see what we can come up with. And we had never written a song together. We kind of opened up to each other the way I always see it's like when you go to a bar and you meet a stranger in the bar and you start just sharing stories or secrets that you might not tell your closest friend. So I felt like we're opening up in a way.
He was never going to see me again.
The main thing was we have to write this song and then go into that room and record it.
But what I thought was really great was that we were able to take real life things, real things that were really happening, things that people said, things that people did, and put them right in the song. You know, lying in my bed, I hear the clock tick and think of you, not for nothing. Lying in my bed, I hear the clock tick and think of you. I had this clock that I got for my birthday. It was a Betty Boop clock. It was a little alarm clock, so I kind of liked it. I had the clock, and I had a loft bed, because my neighbor downstairs, he came in, I had furniture all over, and I lived in one room, and he said, oh, no, it all has to go. You need a loft bed. So he built a loft bed. I had my clock on the loft bed. Dave Wolf came in to go to bed, and he knocked the clock off, and of course, it fell 6 feet and smashed, right? So to bits. So he went back, got his mother's clock from Connecticut. It was old, it was a wind-up, but it was so freaking loud that I used to have to put it in the bathroom behind the shower curtain with the rug, right? Then I'd go climb up, shut the door, climb up on the top, try and go to sleep, and I heard the clock tick. Because you couldn't not hear that freaking clock tick. I'm not kidding. So that's where the line, lying in my bed, I hear the clock tick and think of you. Mm-hmm. That's where that came from. We're in the studio. You know when you're in there and you're in there for 12 hours and your eyes are crossed and they're like, it's okay. Take a deep breath. You're going to be okay. Well, I was standing there and, everybody's tired. And Rick is going to his watch. He's going, oh, my God, look at this thing. Look at this thing. The second hand is unwinding. My watch is going backwards. The second hand is unwinding. And I'm looking at him going, well, maybe it's a magnet. You're over the, and then I'm thinking the second hand unwinds. And then because I think you got to take bits of everything so you remember exactly what was happening and put it in the song. I took that and put it in the song.
The second-hand unwind. If you're lost, you can look and you will find me. Time after time.
So we went and we started working, and I used this title, and it wasn't going to stay. It was just a, work title. And every time I tried to pull it out, everything fell apart.
We're into this kind of ska beat thing. Time after time. Time after time.
Yeah, when that happened, I thought, okay, we got it.
Something. And it was bouncy and
Yeah.
happy. And then somehow it got into, which is pretty simple.
Yeah, but it wasn't just that. You played a little of that, you played a little of something else,
And then-
and then we listened to the tape. Yeah, but that didn't come right away.
Right.
That bass line, Miles loved. I remember dancing and
Yeah.
telling you, no, it's got to feel like this, and you go looking at me, and then you started.
Last thing we did, and the only bass is on the chorus. There's no bass on the record, which is cool. The last thing I thought we really got was the chorus.
Yeah.
Finally,
Can you find me?
Time after time.
If you fall, I will catch you. I'll be waiting. Time after time.
I remember we didn't finish writing the lyric for the chorus, and I was on the phone under
Yeah.
the loft bed, and I was very angry too, because I felt like, you rat bastards put me through so much just to write this fucking song, and now you think it's the best thing ever. I was being put through it and always told, you're not a good writer. And all of a sudden, honest to God, I felt a hand on my shoulder, and it just calmed me down. And I just thought about, up, down, fall, catch. And it just came out like that. And I don't know whose hand went on my shoulder, because I was alone. But whosever hand that was, I think they had a hand in helping me finish that chorus with you on the phone. Because the real world and this magical world of music kind of fused together, I thought, there was something special about it.
we just caught the lightning. We met, we wrote. First thing we did, we were in the studio, like time. I think the vocal, most of the instrumentation was first, second take. I mean, there's a
But that's
keyboard
what made it
pad, and that's the demo. I keep telling people the record you hear is the demo.
After nearly 40 years, Time After Time stands as one of Lauper's signature songs. Everyone from Miles Davis to Willie Nelson have covered it. It was also used in an iconic scene from the cult favorite film Romy and Michelle's High School Reunion. Today, it's a pop standard, used everywhere from weddings to school dances, even memorials.
It had to be right, and the songs had to be not just hit songs, because I didn't want that. I wanted them to be deep. I wanted you to get the chills when you heard them. I wanted it to be like, wow. But I think that this first experience was very special because these guys did listen. And I listened, and we came up with this thing. And that was very special. It became an important record because we broke a lot of rules.
There's a mystery to this song. I mean, it's a bittersweet song, and if you look, there's a darker side, and then there's an uplifting side. But it's not a happy song. It's a hopeful song. But I think that's life. And in a romantic song, which is kind of the main subject of songs, it's hard to write love songs without being overly, oh, I love you forever, or it's a breakup song, I never want to see you again, and then it's an angry, bitter song. And I think that's what's touching people and continues to. And honestly, for me, the best songs have mystery in them. You don't really quite know what's going on there, especially with the video, which was heartbreaking. I mean, the video really drove it home, and we were smack dab in the 80s MTV. You know, Cindy was perfect for that medium as well. So I think all the planets aligned, which is what you want. Those kind of songs are kind of rare. You know, there's few, if any, that I've written like that, where you just touch on those emotions. So wherever you are in your life, you're falling in love, and it's like, oh, it's our love song. Or again, you're breaking up, and it could be that. So I think it's worked on so many levels.
A lot of the song to me was kind of spiritual. And it also was kind of deep because I know you see it as mystery, but it's really about testing love. Because if you love somebody, you're there. Whatever happens, you're there. I think that is what grabbed people, and the fact that there were real moments of humanity in it. And the melody was catchy and hypnotic. The rhythm was hypnotic. My vocal was hypnotic. That adds to it. And I think that if you're writing something and you put something very real in it, then someone listening is going to feel something very real.
Time after